program. We are very excited to launch the 2021 edition of Provisional Remedies and Special Civil Actions Explained by our beloved Rex author, Dean Jess Zaquel Espejo. Let us open the program with a prayer. We would like to enjoin everyone to be in the presence of our dear Almighty Father for our opening prayer, to be followed shortly by the singing of our national anthem.
In respectful presence of our brothers and sisters across boundaries and faiths, let us all join in prayer and worship and gratitude and for guidance. Almighty and eternal God, we thank you for the gift of life and all its joys. We thank you for today, for all its challenges, in all its splendor. We thank you for the gift of one another. O God of infinite mercy and wisdom, only in unity with your will can all our toils have true meaning. Transform us into willing and able stewards of this world and its future. Bring us together to work with understanding and compassion. As we toil and grow weary, we pray for renewed strength and resolve. As we experience pain and sorrow, let us be reminded of untold good beyond. As we see pain and suffering, let us be instruments of your peace and extensions of your loving and healing hands. As we gather here today, bless us all that our collective knowledge be tempered and guided by your wisdom. Grant us clarity of vision to see the common good amidst all distractions. Endow us with humility and purity of heart to transcend all differences and reservations. When we leave this gathering, let us be the change we seek. As we endeavor to practice what we learn, let us be the good we want to see in others. As we work for our learners and their future, let it be that your will be done. In solemn silence, let us conclude with our own personal prayer.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, telas ng sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa gagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mo pagaw, ay ginatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na naghihindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang ay di magtitingin. Luman ang araw ng warhabing pagsinta, mo'y langit sa piling mo. Ang higaya na pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you, everyone. Before we get to the exciting parts of the program, we would like to inform everyone that we have arranged an online raffle. So our dear viewers, you have a chance to win a copy of this book. Just register now on the link pinned in the comments to be included in our live draw later. If you're the lucky winner, comment present on the comment section within 30 seconds after we announce your name. Please take note that the raffle winner who's not able to comment present within the allotted time will be disqualified, and the team will draw another winner. Announcement of one raffle winner will be done later before we end this program, so make sure to stay with us all throughout the program. Good afternoon once again, our dear partners in learning. 2021 is a big year for Rex, and we are happy to be able to share this milestone with you as we continue to serve you as the new, bigger, and better Rex education.
From the mid-20th century, during a time of challenges and hopeful rebuilding, from an alliance of shared passion, Rex was born, persevering through decades, sustained by faith, emboldened by vision. Rex has become a tradition of service to the nation. With its first publications, Rex pledged itself to a more proactive role in education. As evolving education required new tools and services, so did Rex expand. In the dawn of the 21st century, when education is demanded to foster learning in all forms, learning within and beyond the walls of institutions, for sustaining today for the future. We are championing education. We are now Rex Education.
And now to tell us more about Rex Education and to officially open today's event, let us hear from Rex Education's Chief External Affairs Officer, Ms. Danda Cremalda I. Buhain.
Good afternoon, and welcome everyone to today's Learning Pact book launch and lecture. As we count down the months to the bar exams, it is with great pride that we present another stellar legal material that will hopefully guide our future lawyers into securing the future of service and integrity. This new book, of course, comes from Rex Education, a brand, a community, and advocacy, a tradition of service dedicated to inspiring every Filipino lifelong learner to advance themselves and uplift others. With 70 years of service and dedication to education, we have evolved from that iconic bookstore that we all know to something bigger and more significant. From just providing learners with published educational materials, we are now accompanying everyone throughout their lifelong journey, learning in all forms, beyond the walls of institutions, learning for delight, enlightenment, and fulfillment. And true to the tradition of service, Rex Education is guided by the Edu Campeon philosophy, which seeks to rally and empower education duty bearers. We believe that all of us are Edu Campeons, champions for education who are all working with the best interests of the Filipino whole learner in mind, keeping them safe, engaged, supported, challenged, and values-oriented throughout their lifelong journey. It is through and because of this that we are excited to spend the next 2 hours with you as we come together to unveil our most updated offering for the Philippine legal community. Friends and partners in education, may I present to you Provisional Remedies and Special Civil Action Explained. This new addition to our law lineup is an amazing reference material for legal practitioners and functions well as a textbook and reviewer for law students who want to understand better the Provisional Remedy and Special Civil Action section of the Rules of Court. The book looks closely at Rules 57 to 71 of the 2019 amendments to the 1987 Civil Procedure, covering the topics from preliminary attachment and injunction all the way to forcible entry and lawful detainer and contempt. Commentary is kept to the bare minimums to let the rules, cases, and principles speak for themselves, and length is kept moderate for easy reading and review. I have the honor to present the honorable author of Provisional Remedies and Special Civil Action Explained. He is currently the Dean of the University of Mindanao College of Legal Education and a long-time law professor at the Ateneo de Davao University College of Law. Under him, the University of Mindanao was able to achieve previously unreachable results and consistently maintain above national passing rates, churning out the most number of lawyers in the history of the university. A true expert on civil procedure, provisional remedies and special civil actions, evidence, and torts and damages. Our author has been most gracious to join us today for an enlightening session and lecture on these subject matters. So without further ado, please put your hands together and join me in welcoming our partner in championing legal education, Dean Jess Saquel Espejo.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Once again, a good afternoon to all of you. Before I begin, allow me to first express my profound gratitude to my publisher, Rex Bookstore Incorporated, for receiving my manuscript and helping me come up with my second book, Provisional Remedies and Special Civil Actions Explained. Allow me as well to make a special mention of Mr. Ken Guerra of Rex Bookstore in Manila, together with Mr. Ronald Eugenio of Rex Davao City, who first recruited me to join the Rex stable of authors way back in 2017. I would like to also mention and thank Ms. Lian Babiera Torno, Associate Talent Management Manager of Rex Bookstore, Ms. Roxanne Lu S. Talavera, Talent Acquisition Specialist, Mr. Dan David N. Cañadido, Design and Layout Supervisor of Rex Bookstore, Ms. Abby Orpilia from Human Resources, and the rest of the Rex Bookstore team were all very instrumental in ensuring the due publication of the title. I would also like to thank Ms. Jonna Grace Abitona and Ms. Carla Baena for organizing this book launch. I thank the University of Mindanao and its president, Dr. Guillermo P. Torres Jr., for allowing me to contribute towards the goal of democratizing access to quality legal education. I acknowledge as well the presence and invaluable support of my literal better half, Attorney Lailani Y. Espejo, who will herself be a Rex author soon. The book Provisional Remedies and Special Civil Actions Explained is the unintended effect of being thrust into an unfamiliar role and the desire to fill that role creditably. 5 years ago, I was assigned by Dean Manuel P. Quibod of the Ateneo de Davao University Law School to handle review classes for provisional remedies and special civil actions. I consider the assignment as an honor because when I was in law school, the subject was handled by no less than the late Dean Hildegardo Inigo. It meant that I would then have the rare opportunity of being apportioned 4 of Dean Inigo's former subjects, in addition to torts and damages, civil procedure, and evidence, subjects which were assigned to me sometime after our late great dean passed over to the other shore. As many of my former students can attest to, whenever I handle a subject for the first time, I implement a self-imposed 2-to-1 ratio. 2 or more hours of preparation for 1 hour of lecture time. And in the midst of my preparation, I soon realized that the subject that I learned in law school was vastly different from the subject that I was then about to teach. There were so many new laws, rules, and issuances. The related jurisprudence was so doctrinally dynamic, which is a credit to the dynamic personality of the Supreme Court's current composition. Taking all of these things into account, I set out to prepare my lecture notes from which my customary bar review handouts are based. And these lecture notes like those for evidence, just unexpectedly snowballed into a full-fledged textbook. The contents of the book simply mirror how I teach provisional remedies and special civil actions. I speak here not as an authority on the subject, far from it. I also do not presume that this book will be seen as a definitive source of all that there is to learn for the second portion of civil procedure. The book simply endeavors to let the rules, cases, and principles speak for themselves, limiting commentary to the bare minimum. Now, at this point, I would like to level off with all of you, my students, fellow law educators, and everyone else in the audience who may have been compelled, coerced, and even deceived into attending this book launch today. To tell you the truth, I didn't really want to have a book launch, especially when I learned that part of my responsibilities as author was to give a lecture to the audience. I thought that giving a lecture would be an imposition upon the time and resources of my students who are already living their daily law school lives in the virtual platform. I thought that not having a book launch and lecture would at least spare my students from an extra hour or two spent in front of their laptops or devices. But I have to be a good soldier. Excuse me. I need to help my publisher promote the book. And despite the fact that I am averse to being in a very open and public virtual forum, for I honestly and sincerely swear to all of you that I hate being the center of attention, except when I am teaching in an actual classroom, I have to do my part as author. So the next question that I had to resolve internally was, what in the blue hell will I lecture about? Sure, I can spend the next half hour trying to explain a few concepts about provisional remedies and special civil actions. I can choose to pick a chapter in the new book and give a lecture about it, or maybe discuss with you the recent jurisprudence on the subject, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pretend that a half hour is enough to impart sufficient knowledge on any topic that we normally spend days, weeks, and even semesters to teach, digest, and understand. So to all of you here who are again compelled, coerced, and deceived into attending this book launch today, my dears, I am turning this imposition on your time and resources into an opportunity to speak from the heart about matters that are close to my heart. With your indulgence, I'd like to talk about teaching and learning the law during the season of the new normal. I cannot forget the surreal circumstances that took place about 20 months ago. Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio on March 15, 2020, issued Executive Order number 23, placing the entire city under general community quarantine effective on the said date. The executive order mandated the suspension of classes in all levels, prohibited mass gatherings, and suspended work for both government and private sectors. In my capacity as dean, as empowered by the Legal Education Board to suspend classes if and when the same is declared by the local government, I immediately gathered some of my faculty and the officers of my student council for an emergency meeting, wherein I, while reluctant and confused by the situation, but impelled by a sense of urgency and driven by the overwhelming desire to protect the health and safety of my students, suspended all face-to-face classes at the University of Mindanao College of Law. We acted immediately because, to my mind at least, had we waited, our students would have unnecessarily faced the fearsome uncertainty of coming to school and risking illness. The world changed on that fateful day of March 15, 2020. My world, your world, changed on March 15, 2020. So suddenly, we were all thrust into an unfamiliar situation. The delivery of legal instruction was forced to transition from actual to virtual. Recall your usual daily grind before of going to law school, frantically studying, or maybe just pretending to frantically study at the library, attending classes under the stress of excitement of possibly being called for recitation as if it were a startling occurrence and part of the rest just day, and coming home to presumably study until the wee hours of the morning, sleeping for a few hours, and then repeating the cycle all over again. That is now, for the moment, all gone. Now, your daily routine has changed, and it has become very monotonous as you now labor as law students in and around your laptops and attend law school classes through your laptops as well. I am almost certain that you miss even the menial and perhaps insignificant chores of choosing what clothes to wear to school, putting on makeup perhaps, or maybe even ruining or tormenting your classmates who do not share digests and reading materials with you. Heck, I guess you even miss the ability to come together after a tough exam and have a drink or two or 10 and wallow in the misery of waiting for a failing exam grade that comes weeks or even months after, knowing fully well your professor's proclivity of putting off the checking of your exam notebooks until it's way past the deadline for submission of grades. If I were to venture a guess, having been around law students for more than half my life, I would say that there's one thing that you miss most of all, and that is the usual support system that tends to develop around you throughout your law school life. As dean, I have always told my students that while at the end of the day, you will have to take the bar examinations alone, it does not mean that you have to go through the tortures of law school by yourself. I tell them, you're all in law school together, so you better look at law school as something that you can survive together as well. Have your classmates and your law school friends to help you out during tough times. From the simplest favor of lending you a pen when yours would run out of ink during an exam, to having someone to get case digests from, to having a shoulder to cry on when law school life gets really, really tough, like we know that it always tends to do. You don't have that support system right now. You labor through law school, for the moment bereft of the little things that make your lives as law students easier. For the moment, you go through your law school days minus those intangibles that keep you going. Right now, you also don't have the physical presence of your professors with whom you can interact, directly ask questions to, and if you are so inclined, to befriend and be actually mentored by. This sad reality prevails not only in your law school, it is the same throughout all law schools in the country. And therefore, you are not alone. You are not alone in the monotony, the frustration, and the seeming incarceration that the new normal has brought upon this world. And speaking about your professors, my dears, we are not immune to the effects that this paradigm shift in legal education had brought upon us. Even before the new normal, I have always maintained that being a legal educator is a tough and almost thankless profession. Remember that none of us actually teach law full-time, as all of us have our own day jobs, whether in public or private practice. Have you ever thought about the fact that your law professors are essentially and inevitably training their future competitors or future opponents in the courtroom? We teach you the law to the best of our abilities, knowing fully well that if we teach you well enough, you might soon show us up in the courtroom and use the very things we taught you against us. You don't see that in the medical profession because medical cases are not contentious. There are no plaintiffs, there are no defendants. In the medical theater, only physicians and patients who desire to be cured. To a true law school professor, or one who teaches not because of compensation, but for the love of teaching, he can only truly say that he had accomplished his mission by the barometer of his students' own success. The destiny of a mentor is to be surpassed by his pupil, and nothing short of this would give the old mentor his just satisfaction. If you fail, believe you me, we also fail. If you succeed, vicariously, we succeed as well. For me personally, if none of my students surpass me, I will consider myself a failure as an educator. That is just the way I have always looked at things, and that will be the way that I will always measure my own success as a law school professor, as an author, and as a dean. Say that being a law school professor is an almost but not completely thankless profession. Why, you may ask? It is simple, really. Your professors get their gratification once a year, and that is when the bar examination results come out, because that is the soonest time that we can visualize and quantify the results of all the hard work that we put in and year out. We don't even get to look forward to that, considering that, and as you all know, the bar examinations have been postponed twice already. Regarding the daily pleasure of teaching, do you honestly think it is ever easy for us to shift into this online platform? Do you honestly think that we, your law school professors, are perfectly content with the fact that we can do our jobs within the comfort of our own homes or offices right now? To give you an idea, allow me to share with you a short piece of poetry that I wrote more than a year ago when we were already adjusting to the virtual platform. And the poem is entitled Analog. So let me just read it to you for a while. So it goes, from sage on the stage to mere guide on the side, would my passion and compassion still be felt in this new tutelage, as seen in the context of cold screen or page? From being an actual mentor, would I regress into a virtual tormentor? From being the dean of an actual place, am I now just a scene in some virtual space? From an educator, I have now become an animator, a content creator, a forum moderator, a talking head on a monitor, a Google Suite magician, a computer technician, a 24/7 hotline, an unwitting leaf in a grapevine, a survey taker, an amateur filmmaker, a reluctant cameraman with an ambitious digital plan, a virtual class host, and sadly, an untouchable ghost. The faces that you now see are frames of zeros and ones. So I tell myself, good luck, old man. The new normal has just begun. So that poem encapsulates the apprehension and uncertainty that I felt when this new normal happened almost 2 years ago. Whenever I go to the UM campus, for example, I cannot help but feel like I was in a ghost town. I miss the noise. I miss the sounding of that weird school bell of ours signaling that I had to go to the classroom already to teach my classes. Or, as my non-regular students could relate, the signal that they had to transfer to another classroom already. I miss traversing the corridor regularly, either to check up on the classes that are being held or simply to chat with my students and just ask them how they were. I miss the cacophony of idle chatter and the voices of students outside the classrooms trying to memorize provisions of the law and to master case digests just before their professors arrive. I miss the palpable nervousness that permeated the classrooms when I started shuffling the class cards, signaling the commencement of recitation. I miss seeing those haggard and obviously sleepless faces who venture into the uncertainty of the weekly Saturday essay exams. Most of all, I miss the laughter in the classroom. It is something that can never be replicated in a virtual platform. I miss teaching in an actual physical classroom. The little things that kept me going despite the challenges are not there for me right now in the new normal. I miss being with my students, period. And the extent of this longing cannot be expressed in words. Take due notice of the fact that your teachers actually feed off your energy and your daily affirmation. So whenever I taught before, I observed the eyes of my students because their eyes signaled to me whether they understood what I was talking about or whether they were already bored or tired or whatnot. I am fueled by their reactions whenever I tell a corny joke or a weird but true anecdote of an event that happened in my career as a lawyer. If I feel like I had a good class based on the reactions of my students, I go home as if on a high, satisfied, just like a laborer paid his daily wage. For me, the affirmation of my students was enough motivation that has fed me and fueled me, regardless of salary, to never stop teaching for the last how many years, numbering almost half of my life. Now, during this new normal, I have none of that. Not one of your professors can say at present that he or she is motivated by the enlightened look on your actual faces. We, your professors, and you, our beloved and sorely missed students, are now but pixels on a screen or frames of zeros and ones. I know that you're tired. We, your professors, are tired too. I know that you feel that this is also monotonous and emotionally and mentally draining. Trust me, we feel that that is so draining too. I appeal to all of you, however, to stay the course. As a Jesuit mentor once told me, when you feel like you're at the end of your rope, tie a knot in the end and hold on. What I ask of you, my dear students, on behalf of all of your law professors is, my God, kumustahin nyo naman kami paminsan-minsan. Tao din kami na napapagod at nalulungkot din. Interact with us. Extend to us the benefit of more than just a perfunctory emoji reply. Ask questions. Ask follow-up questions. Ask us some more questions, and we would be more than happy to answer them. Show us that you are still interested. Remind us in some little way that with what we are doing right now is something other than just going through the motions. Remind us that what we do right now still matters in the greater scheme of things. Believe me when I say that if we didn't think that you, our dear students, mattered, none of us, even a dean like me, would still be doing this under the circumstances now prevailing. And remember that near the beginning of this talk, I informed you that I was going to talk about the vocation of teaching law during the season of the new normal. I'd like to highlight the word season. Season lang siya. Why? You may ask. I say that because seasons pass and seasons change. This time of isolation, frustration, and uncertainty will pass, and the health of the world will soon change for the better. So, join me in prayer. Join me in the hope that we can all be together again in an actual classroom once more. Join me in the wishful anticipation of a better time when you can once again be in physical interaction with your classmates, when you can once again share a pen or maybe a digest, a book, a story, idle chit-chat, or even a drink or 2 or 10. There is hope. We know that things are already changing for the better, but you have to still do your part. Continue wearing your masks. Stay at home. Get vaccinated if you haven't gotten vaccinated yet. Do everything in your power, not only to protect your own bodily health and safety, but also the health and safety of everyone else around you. And while you're at it, perhaps, and for as long as your health is assured, perhaps this coming May, you can even go out and vote. Choose or help others choose by the whisper of your good counsel the next leaders of this country who actually intend to serve it and not those who expect the country to serve them instead. Our nation is sick. And just like a sick child who yearns for the love and care of his father and mother, our nation needs a good father and a loving mother who will nurse it back to health because they mutually decided to join hands to just do that. Now, I end this imposition on your time and resources on a hopeful note. The subject of the book, Provisional Remedies and Special Civil Actions, like any other remedial law subject, is best taught inside a physical classroom. I'm excited to teach this subject again in campus and inside the classrooms at either Bolton or Jacinto Street. It is my sincere wish that we can learn this subject together when the circumstances already permit. Until then, I hope that you can extend to me some more of your time and resources and go out and buy this book. It is regrettable that compared to the launch of my first book, I cannot even treat you to some food or shake your hands to thank you for your attendance and patronage. For the prospect of your patronage, I am eternally in your debt until we physically meet again. In time, in God's perfect time, law school will be back to normal soon. And in perfect hope and in perfect trust, I say to all of you, my dears, I miss you all. Stay safe and God bless. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you very much for that very rich presentation, Dean Jess Zaquel Espejo. We are very honored to receive such expert guidance, especially at a time when the study and practice of law have become more challenging. In behalf of Rex Education, allow me to congratulate you on yet another feather in your cap with the release of this book. We look forward to learning more from you through your books and lectures. Congratulations, Dean, and here's to more years of working together as stewards of legal education. All right, just to remind everyone that we have a question and answer portion at the latter part of the program. So if you have any questions, feel free to type in your questions in the comments section. And now to share more about our author's commitment to legal education, share some reactions to warmly welcome virtually, Attorney Ahmed Siddique B. Dalam, law school professor and attorney for the Civil Service Commission.
Hello po. Magandang hapon. I hope I am loud and clear. Ayan, but first and foremost, I would like to extend my gratitude, no, and thanks to the good Dean, Dean Sake. I will call him Dean Sake because that is parang may term of endearment na rin talaga sa kanya, no? Ayan, so napakaraming taong pwede niyang invite, but basically I was one of those individuals na invite niya to really give testimony, no? Testify as to the value of the book, quality of the book really. Well, since yun naman talaga ang obligation, no, to give testimony, a short testimony on the material, I guess I'm really qualified because I've been under this man, no? The man of the hour. I've been under this man at the majority of my remedial law class and even some civil law classes. So ayun. So I will not talk about the author himself kasi napakakuan naman niya, no? Common knowledge na sa ating lahat, no? The dedication of our good deed sa academe, ayun. But I will just make an emphasis lang doon sa material because I was able to secure a copy. Okay? Yun, at saka na-browse through ko yung material and some of the observation really is actually taken din sa mga sa mga experience ko sa kanya. Ayun. So, one thing that we need to understand about the book is that it is a lecture series, really. No, it is taken from the lecture of our dean, no, of Sir Sake. Taken from meticulous preparation of the material, taken from repetitive, no, study and research on the material. So makita mo, it is really like a lecture series. Ayan siya. So, what do we mean by a material being a lecture series? May emphasis on the application really. But not just any application but for purpose of bar examination. Yun siya, no? Guidance really. So, another thing that you will consider about this material is that the correlation of the principles. Yun yung pinakamatindi dito. Direct, malinaw, meticulous na words na ginamit so that it would be easier for us to really comprehend the application that is being discussed in the book. Yun siya. Another thing is that the quality of the book is that it is really concise. It is not intending to be so long, no? It is not intending to be so verbose, kumbaga. It is really short, handy tool for your preparation in the bar examination, lalong-lalo na dun sa ating mga estudyante na mag-prepare for the bar examination. And last but not the least, we are grateful. Kasi dati pa, nung estudyante pa lang, under pa lang ako sa watch ni Sir Sake, I've been mentioning through my law school friends and now lawyer friends that his ideas really and the manner of interpreting law should be made available to the general public. Why is that? Because madaling intindihin. Maraming matatalino sa batas po, maraming magagaling sa batas, pero the thing is that they could not really share the idea clearly. The advantage of the material of Dean is that kung paano niya yun i-lecture sa amin, paano niya explain sa amin yung punto, yung topic sa lecture, sa mga lectures niya sa remedial law has been thoroughly contained, maintained in the book. So, I am urging everybody, especially those who are considering careers sa law school, that you must secure a copy of this material because we are given an opportunity by our good dean to, kumbaga, makita ang interpretation ng batas according sa kanyang perspektibo. Ayun siya. We are of course privileged, because we have the opportunity really na ma-experience yon, marinig siya, paano i-lecture, paano i-explain yung mga principles about sa batas. Sa iba, of course, because unfortunate for you, ladies and gentlemen, you are not under him and you are not his student in this particular subjects. But worry no more, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. Hush down because we have a way of really securing a piece, a material of his interpretation of the law, and that is by way of the manuscripts na talagang hindi niya pinagdamot sa ating lahat. Kapatid, evidence, the same is true with, of course, yung ating material niyan, yung provisional remedies and special civil actions. I really urge you, ladies and gentlemen, lalong-lalo na nga yung mag-aaral ng law school at saka yung magtitake ng bar examination to secure a copy of this material because this will really be a useful tool, conducive tool for your campaign. Yun po, sa law school at saka sa bar examination. and even my lawyer friends, no? Kasi nga, no, we do not pretend to be always knowledgeable about the law. So this is the high time for us to really review on the matter. And if you want a good resource material, ayun, we have this, no? Hindi tayo pinagdamutan ni Dean. He made it available for us. So might as well take advantage of this opportunity. Yun lang po ang masasabi ko. And again, thank you, Sir Sake, for inviting me and giving this testimonial. See you around if pwede na po. Ayan po. Thank you. Sa mga students, salamat sa pag-attend. Ayun. Salamat po. Yan lang po.
Thank you for all those very generous words, Attorney Dala. At this point, we will now be hearing more about how the works of Dean Jess Zaquel Espejo can help in paving the way for our future lawyers. Let us all give a warm welcome to Ms. Jennifer D. D., fourth-year law student, a consistent Dean's Lister, and editor-in-chief of Forum Law Journal.
Thank you po. Thank you very much. On behalf of the law students of the University of Mindanao College of Law and our student governor, Ms. Asaisa Obinay, I am delighted to extend our warmest congratulations to our dean on the very valuable contribution he is making to the legal education and legal practice through his book, Provisional Remedies and Special Civil Actions Explained. To begin, allow me to share one of my most memorable experience with Dean. By the way, Dean Espejo is currently my professor in remedial law review and was my professor in evidence. One time during our evidence lecture, Dean called me and I was then asked to determine his age by simply looking at his appearance. My response shook the entire class. Surprised, Dean told us that he has asked the very same question to his previous classes and that in all of those years, never was there a student who made him way older than he actually is. I never then got the chance to explain. So today I'll take this opportunity to explain my side. So most certainly, and as can be gleaned, our Dean Sake looks young for his age. On my first year, I would even tell my classmates that because of his youthful aura, he does not look like a dean of a college of law. Well, going back, I based my response not on his appearance as instructed, but based on his long list of accomplishments. A well-merited lawyer, a long-time law professor in the Ateneo de Davao University with a Master of Laws degree from San Beda, a bar reviewer, a bar technique lecturer, and a dean of the College of Law of the University of Mindanao. And as if that were not already enough, he is also a published author of Rex Education. To my mind, an ordinary man would not have attained all of these at a young age. Thus, my answer. My mistake. I forgot Dean Sake is no ordinary man. He is a genius, and only a genius like him can be this triumphant at such an age. Explain na ako din ha. So going on, as a professor, Dean Espejo is no doubt the best remedial law teacher there is. He has the ability to simplify complicated provisions and principles of law. A very passionate educator, his lectures are always organized and well thought of. Even the minutes of details in his presentations, it can be keenly observed that those were not randomly placed, but were purposely incorporated. To emphasize, Dean never comes to class unprepared. He dedicates ample time and effort and even practices his lectures before conducting a class. He conducts extensive research on the latest jurisprudence and is up to date as to what doctrines are still applicable and which are already abandoned. With that being said, it is rest assured that all of his works, especially his books, are of top-notch quality, being a product of his passion, hard work, and dedication. As a law students, we are tasked to read loads and loads of law materials. I have to say, after opening and browsing hundreds of law books in the library, Dean's books stand out the most. Why? It is because of the author's gift for storytelling. Dean Sake is a master storyteller. He has his way with words which entices his readers. Some may say that creative writing is incompatible with legal writing, but through Dean's creativity, he can make the intimidating less intimidating. And that is without compromise with the spirit and intent of the law. And for us law students, especially us struggling law students, it is such a tremendous help. When we read his books, it is as if we are listening to his discussions, just like when we are in actual class. As his lectures are always engaging, just so are his books. Yes, reading may sometimes be a daunting task, but gladly there are law books such as Dean's that are so well written that reading becomes such an ease. Lastly, as Dean Espejo student, and I speak on behalf of my fellow law students, using his books was an advantage to us. In using them, we get to read his thoughts on the subject and we get to understand his appreciation and application of the law, which can equip us not only for the bar, but in the actual practice of law. Indeed, Dean Espejo is a mentor who truly cares for his students. And I wish all the readers of this book the best. And I hope all of you will secure Dean's books. Mabuhay ka, Dean, and once again, congratulations po. Magandang hapon po sa lahat.
Thank you for all these kind words, Ms. D and Attorney Dala. Hearing your praises of the book gives us utmost pride for having been chosen and entrusted with the publication of this masterpiece. In the same vein, allow us to express our gratitude to you as well for being stewards of legal education. And now we're opening the floor for the Q&A with our author, Dean Espejo. So feel free to comment your questions below. We will be selecting 3 questions from the comments. And as we move forward, I will be reading the questions in behalf of our author. Again, let me just remind our viewers about the online raffle later. Don't miss your chance to win Dean Espejo's new book. Just register on the link pinned in the comments to be included in our live draw later. So, do we have any questions for Dean Espejo? Any questions from our viewers who are watching with us today? All right, I guess our viewers, Dean, fully understood and we're very inspired by your presentation, as all in the comment sections were flooded with congratulatory messages. So Dean, before we move forward with the online raffle, do you have any tips or advice for our 2020 to 2021 barristers and our future lawyers who are watching with us today?
I guess just a few words about what the flattering remarks that were given to me for me by our 2 reactors, our speakers who gave the testimonials. First and foremost, let me talk a little bit about Attorney Dalam. Okay, and I have always maintained pasensya na. To my previous other students and current students, I've always maintained that Attorney Dalam is within the top 3 of the best law students that I've ever taught. That is something that I can say for certain. And I have taught a lot of law students, seen a lot of lawyers, and a lot of law students become lawyers. And Attorney Dalam is really in the top 3. It is not. It's manifested in his bar examination grade. It's also manifested in the fact that he is one of those few trusted faculty members of mine that I intend to inherit my franchises. In other words, my subjects also. So. My students in UM right now, especially the 4th-year law students, you know that in my stead, vicariously for me, it is Attorney Dalam that I let teach either civil procedure or provisional remedies and special civil actions. And maybe soon, basig evidence po, I will leave it to Attorney Dalam because he has that quality in a law student that he will not be content with just giving an answer without really digging into the philosophy behind the answer. So nasabtan ni Ahmed Dalam ang balaod actually. And that is the only way that he can ensure himself that he's ready at that time when he was still a student to take examinations. And a good news to all of you is the fact that Attorney Dalam as well is preparing a manuscript also in remedial law. Stay tuned, anticipate that will happen. Okay, that will happen very, very soon. And I'm looking forward to it. And I congratulate Ahmed for that and thank him for the kind words that he has said on my behalf. And for Miss D, okay, thank you for the clarification that you gave me. Okay, it's not that I took it against you, that you said a much, a greater age than what I expected. Because whenever I ask my students in evidence, how old do they think I was? Okay, it is actually in relation to explaining that when a court examines a person to determine his age, he's not actually taking judicial notice, which is, of course, a distinct concept in Rule 129 of the Rules of Court, judicial notice. No, the court is not taking judicial notice of age. The court is actually conducting autoptic proference or an examination of physical evidence. Mo na siya kung ginatry yung emphasize diha. And so, it was unique because, of course, Miss D said that I was what was I? 44? When in fact, at that time, I was like 34. No, I'm just kidding. That's it. No, that's, well, the rest of them, medyo bata ang ginaingon nila na age because I'm flattered by your comment that I look younger than I actually am. And you know what? It's actually a curse to look younger than you actually are. If you are a dean, for example, nobody would believe that you're a dean or you're a book author if you look, kind of young. So I don't know. I'd rather let my gratification come from my students becoming lawyers already, and hopefully using what I taught them in law school to, in Tagalog, paggisahin ako sa sarili kong mantika in the courtroom later on. Pasensya na, nakatagalog ko how many times today. That is something that I do not usually do. Okay. So, Dayan, I think that's it with respect to Ahmed and Jennifer. You're asking me about what, Dayan, again?
Do you have any tips or advice, Dean, for our 2020 to 2021 barristers and future lawyers who are watching with us today?
Of course, yes. And I always tell this to my students that preparing for the bar examinations right now is kind of tough. Why? Because it's a different bar examinations. You're reviewing for the bar examinations under unique circumstances. And you will take the bar examinations under dangerous circumstances as well. Okay? But at the end of the day, go back to the reason why you decided to enter law school in the first place. Nganong nata dire? Nganong nag-eskwela taglo? Is it because we want our parents to be proud of us? Is it because we want to provide our family with a better life? So when times get tough, you go back to that consideration. Balikan natin kung ano yung bagay na nagudyok sa atin in the first place to be in law school. That's my main advice because you can always draw from that. You can always draw from that well of inspiration when times get rough. And never forget what your teachers told you, whether inside the classroom or outside of it, because they are all good advice as far as I'm concerned. So Kanto, that's it. That's my advice, Dayan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean Jess Zaquel Espejo, and once again, congratulations. All right, this time, as promised, we will be now giving away one copy of this new book. Who will be the lucky one to win the book Provisional Remedies and Special Civil Actions Explained by our beloved author, Dean Jess Zaquel Espejo? Again, reminder, we will be announcing the name of the lucky person for this raffle wheel. If your name is called, please comment down present so we know you're here with us. We will then verify if it's you who won. However, if after 30 seconds we did not see any comment, we will be drawing another winner from our list of registrants. So good luck. All right, congratulations to Reginald Mac Santiago. Once again, congratulations to Reginald Mac Santiago. Sir Reginald, if you're here with us today, kindly comment present in the comment section below. We will be giving you 30 seconds to comment present. Once again, Reginald Mac Santiago. All right, congratulations, Reginald Mac Santiago. You have won a copy of Dean Espejo's new book entitled Provisional Remedies and Special Civil Actions Explained. A REX representative will be sending you an email regarding the details on how to claim your prize. Once again, congratulations to Reginald Mac Santiago. All right, on that note, we have come to the end of this afternoon's program. Indeed, it was a very productive learning afternoon with our legal luminaries, Dean Jess Zaquel Espejo, and our distinguished guests. In behalf of REX Education, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for having been chosen as your partner in legal education. We look forward to more years of our fruitful partnership as we continue to work together to enable law students and lawyers to achieve their dreams and becoming lawyers and excelling as one. To everyone who joined us this afternoon, thank you for learning with us and for choosing REX to be your partner in learning. See you all on our next book launch and lecture. Thank you and keep soaring, Educampeones.